As you leave.
We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up? Hey guys. Hey, howdy. Howdy do. Hola. What's going on?
Isn't that how they do that?
It is. In the Grand Old Opry days, it's howdy, right? And the lady with all the tags on her hat, like whoever that lady was, she's playing like way dead probably, right? She probably died in the 90s. Yeah, it's a drive-in speaker box. What up, guys? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in. It is Monday. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sorry, I am super scatterbrained. I just got here like 15 minutes ago and got everything set up because it's Nightmare on Block Street's in full swing. Sam over on Facebook giving me the Mini Pearl. That's who that was, Mini Pearl. Derpy Gaming on YouTube says, two wild and freaky guys.
Is it the Halloween version?
And not wild and
Hey, Yanni,
crazy.
guess what I'll be for Halloween?
A wild and freaky guy.
Yeah. Picking up the American foxes.
Well, we're doing none of that.
That's my favorite SNL skit.
Unless it's like actually trapping American foxes that are just like in the wilderness.
Yeah,
and
no, I
setting
feel
them
like
free.
it. Yeah, no one would be okay with it now. Yeah.
No, can't do it. But yeah, shout outs to everybody that's already tuned in. We are here. I'm Bo, the boom operator, your host.
I am Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we're going to be talking to you guys about movies. That's what we do. We're going to be talking to you about, I saw Halloween Ends. I'm assuming you didn't because it's a scary movie about a guy that stabs people. And I'm just thinking that you didn't
I'm
see
wearing
that.
a t-shirt about a scary movie with a guy that stabs people.
Doesn't mean that you go home and watch horror movies because clearly on the show you have established that you don't like the horror movies.
Well, that's not true. My girlfriend has been making me watch
forcing you to watch movies. That's different than you choosing to watch
Hellraiser
movies.
over and over and over. We watch through the entire series of Hellraiser constantly, and there's like chains that stab people all the time.
Let's see. Already in the comments, got Vince over on Twitch saying Mini Pearl died in 96. Adam Zimmerman on YouTube being like, yo, bros. What up, guys? Derpy Gaming on YouTube saying, so how was Over the Top Ends? I mean, dead franchise ends. We're going to talk about it. I'm gonna give you the breakdown in the second half of the show. We will be giving you guys the rundown of that. Sam on Facebook says the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game was pretty good. I don't think I remember playing that one. I remember the Friday the 13th game because that was super, super creepy. And so there. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, back to what we were saying, what I did watch was far from scary, which was I watched Rosalind, the Hulu movie, because as you guys know, if you watched last week, not a lot of new stuff was coming out this week. And I guess I could have watched Halloween Ends on Paramount if I would have signed up for
Is
Peacock.
Halloween Ends on Peacock right now?
Yeah, on Peacock, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
But I hadn't watched the other two.
I did actually start the first episode of Interview with a Vampire, the AMC series. I can give you guys a brief little discussion of that. I'm only in the first episode. I haven't finished the first season of Rings of Power. I've got one more episode left of that to catch up. But it has just been crazy. As Vince on Twitch just reminded me, he said, shout out to your cool pinball games. We had a fun thing happen at Pinpoint at Nightmare on Block Street this week. I was able, after years of searching and hoping and wishful thinking, I have assembled the unholy trinity of Elvira pinball machines. I've got the Party Monsters, I've got Elvira Scared Stiff, and I've got Elvira in the House of Horrors, all three next to each other. I didn't even see that at TPF, and they're all there ready to play, and Jake hasn't even been in there once to see them.
Sorry, dude, man, you know, life or whatever. I will be there. I will be there.
Gotta see them.
Because I've never got to play the new one.
And they're only there for 2 more weeks altogether.
Scared Stiff is one of the most fun pinball machines that there is.
Yes.
I like Scared Stiff a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I will recommend everybody that wants to come down. We've got a whole horror movie lineup at Pinpoint here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But if you do come, Fridays and Saturdays are really, 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 really busy. So if you're wanting to come and play some pinball, come before 8 o'clock or after midnight on Friday and Saturday, or literally any other day of the week. Always fun. So Derpy Gaming says, I bless the pinball machines. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Like, you know, we got to meet Cassandra Peterson a few years ago, and, you know, Elvira herself, and seeing all those pinball machines together. I mean, it's really cool. There's all these different, like when 3 people are playing at the same time, there's just all of these Cassandra Peterson isms coming out where, you know, in Scared Stiff, one of the funniest things, like if you're in one of the multi-ball modes and you're hitting the jackpot over and over and over, she's like, oh, I'm experiencing multiple jackpots, and just like stupid stuff that only Cassandra Peterson can make funny. And I say Cassandra, you say Cassandra. Will, how's that song go? Anyway. Let's see. Night Owl actually says, came by to support, heard Bo proclaim, this man tipped $5 on $100 tab. Give it up for... You actually heard that. Oh, my God. Yes. So the other night at the bar was packed. It was super packed. And, you know, we love doing this stuff. It's fun. Themed holiday bars are fun. Themes are fun. They are an incredible amount of work, especially when you're trying to do things that are movie related and make details and blah, blah, blah. A lot of work. Very expensive. When you go to a bar, you go to a restaurant, tip your service people, you know, tip them. They're working hard. Be nice to your concession stand teenager at the movies. They probably weren't given good instructions, but they're trying their best. I actually poached one of the bartenders from the AMC Theater here in town, and he is now a bartender or a bar back for us. He's still got a lot of work. Shout out Store Boy Ram. But anyway, yeah, there was a gentleman who tipped $5 on a $100 tab, which to spend $100 at our bar means you were ordering a lot of drinks, right? And then one of my bartenders was like, God, this guy was such a butthole all night, and he did this. And I go, who was it? And he goes, that guy in the blue checkered shirt. And I'm whispering right now, guys, but I have a big dad voice when I want to yell. And
you can be really loud.
I can be very loud. And I just shouted in the bar. I was like, hey, everybody, guy in the blue checkered shirt. As you see in the comments there that Night Owlishly said, this guy tipped $5 on a $100 tab. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. And that dude was like, bow. And he left, and hopefully won't ever come back. But anyway, yeah. It's Halloween. It's spooky season. You're tuned in. You're checking it out. Let's talk about movies. Let's talk about news. Let's talk about things that are fun. And let's talk about Liam Neeson getting signed on for a Naked Gun reboot. Let's talk about that. Feelings, Jake. Thoughts? Yes.
Yeah. Bro. Yeah. I like Naked Gun. Liam Neeson is super rad. You know he can play like like a super funny deadpan dude, you know, like his role in the Seth MacFarlane stuff, you know, just being like the weird dude buying cereal in Ted, or the bad guy in, what is it, 1,000 Ways to Die in the West, or whatever it was. So Liam Neeson can do comedy and still be like super Liam Neeson stereotype type thing, and I think it'll work out just fine.
I think of all the people that they could have chosen for that, Liam Neeson was obviously the best choice because he can do the action chops, and I think he needs to not maybe do the action chops anymore and maybe do more stuff like this. I think because he'll be able to deadpan it, and the fact that it's Liam Neeson and he has a set of skills, and comedy is probably going to be one of those skills.
Yeah. Plus, Darkman, bro. I find Darkman hilarious at points.
Darkman's such a good movie
because when he just gets pissed and starts yelling at people uncontrollably, It's very funny to me.
Darkman,
Yeah.
add that to your list. A lot of people this month have been asking me, like, oh, what scary movies should I watch? And it's not always about horror movies. It's not always about slashers. It's about spooky, atmospheric, dark movies. Dark Man is a really, really good one.
Yeah, the movie opens up with a dude chopping people's fingers off with a cigar cutter.
Yeah.
And then a scientist getting dumped into chemicals.
Goop and then coming out skelly bones.
Exploding.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie. So yeah, there's a lot of movies out there to watch. Did you know that finally A Near Dark is on streaming? You can get it. I think it's on the Criterion channel streaming. It's been out of print for ages. A lot of people have been wanting to borrow my DVD copy, and it's closely guarded. I don't let that out. But you can get it now on I think Criterion streaming and other services, which is a really good movie. If you've never seen Near Dark, classic vampire, Bill Paxton. I mean, come on. What are you going to do?
Talking classic horror, what's now considered classic, which is weird to think, and things to watch. So Scream, with its recent reboot quel.
Well, I met Dylan from the new Scream, the guy, one of the actors in there. He came to Pinpoint, and
we actually sent that in the Discord.
Yeah, we actually did hang out. He was a really cool dude. He hung out at Pinpoint.
He was in the new Scream.
Yeah, he was.
It was like a Nickelodeon or Disney.
He was in the new Scream. He was in Goosebumps. He was in 13 Reasons Why. He was in Don't Breathe. He's been in a lot of different stuff, and he's in this band called The Wallows, and they were playing at JJ's Live here. They came through Pinpoint. They heard about it. They checked it out. They ended up staying for a really long time. We actually played skee ball together and chatted, and I charged his phone because he went on empty, and he just loved our bar. And I hate taking selfies with celebrities, but he was like, "You want to take a picture?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, dude. A horror movie actor in a horror movie bar. Let's do it."
He offered.
Well, we had talked about it, and then I had forgotten, and then before he's like, "Hey, let's get that picture," and I'm like, "Okay, dude."
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, if they offer, that's really cool. But so talking that new Scream, David Arquette was recently doing an interview with like comicbookmovie.com or something like that, and he said that don't write Dewey off completely yet.
Oh yeah, never write Dewey off.
So he may still be coming back. They'll find a way to bring him back to life and keep him in the movies. And he's the fun part anyhow, right? So yeah, there you go. You might still have more David Arquette when they do more Scream
speaking
movies.
of David Arquette, last week, which, I was telling everybody on the show, we were doing the screening of Ghost in the Ozarks last Wednesday at Mount Sequoia, which is an Arkansas-produced, I would say, horror film. It is in the genre of horror. It's more of like a suspense thriller. It's more of like a Shyamalanian horror, like the monster is not necessarily the monster. But David Arquette was in that film. And a lot of people here in Arkansas got to work with him and said he's a pretty cool dude.
Well, after watching
all the dweeboids think he's a really cool dude.
After watching that documentary about him and getting his life together and doing the wrestling thing and all that for real, David Arquette does seem like a cool dude.
Agreed. Vince on Twitch, he asks, over/under on 5 years before we get another Halloween. That will depend on the box office report, which we will be talking to you later in the show about. It's money, man, and my review of the Halloween Ends will hit, I promise, in 10 minutes. We're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna give it a little time because we got 3 movies to really talk about and not just the one. But we'll cover that ground in just a bit. Any other news that you had written down? I know you probably wrote some stuff down.
Yeah, man, we got a couple things here. So. In Marvel news, big news, Harrison Ford is going to be the new Thunderbolt Ross starting in the next Captain America movie.
Break a leg. Hey, thanks Logan. And hey, shout outs.
Break a leg.
Shout outs to Logan over on Twitch with the resub. Not just because he's resubbing and that's what a good fan does, but he's also a good homie. This dude is currently driving out to my warehouse with a pipe organ and dropping it off for me because I've been too busy to go pick up. I bought this old 1869 pipe organ because I want to do a Phantom of the Opera scene next year for Nightmare on Block Street. And Logan with his trailer trailer, it's just been burning the night drive oil and picking this. So shout outs in the comments. Give Logan some love, because that's what the drive-in speaker box army is all about. Is that a thing that we have now?
Sure, it can be.
Yeah.
I guess next year I'll come in. I'll be Gerard Butler, Phantom of the Opera, singing the music of the night.
Just kicking people in the chest. And be like, this is a Sparta. And bam.
Something like that. Yeah.
Freaking Gerard Butler.
Vince said that he mentioned something in Discord, which that's where I got the Harrison Ford news from first. Actually, checking that. But, there was a celebrity lost. Mike Schenk from American Movie passed, and it seemed like that bummed Vince out quite a bit. So pour one out for him. Also, Marvel adjacent with Harrison Ford coming in as Thunderbolt Ross is the dude who has been cast to play Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors. They revealed the first poster for him as the villain in Creed 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Another Creed film.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's the
with
one...
arms wide open.
That's the one with that's a bad boxing technique. That would be funny if they did that, where he just gives up and it's like with the arms wide open, just gets uppercut. Yeah. But that's the first one being done without Sylvester Stallone's involvement in it. It's Michael B. Jordan directing and starring and all that. But you know what Sylvester Stallone is doing?
I don't know.
He's doing a this series.
The Expendables 9.
No, that would be sick.
I thought I'd open up a barbecue restaurant and then make an Expendables like 16.
Why not, dude? Yeah, Planet Hollywood. He already did the restaurant
thing.
the
restaurant thing.
But
that was him and Bruce Willis?
And Arnold.
And Arnold, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to open up a chain, think Applebee's, but with like, movie memorabilia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Tulsa King trailer came out, and it's about Stallone as a mafioso. He gets out of prison, and his mob boss sends him to Tulsa, Oklahoma, so he can conquer the underbelly of Tulsa and establish the mob there.
Tulsa?
Mm-hmm.
God, nobody wants anything to do with any part of the belly of Tulsa.
Yeah, because it has the river, and it smells real bad.
Yup.
But it's going to be on Paramount Plus. So it's really weird to think of Stallone doing TV.
Tulsa TV.
Yeah.
Everybody...
You think they're going to film it in Tulsa, or it's going to be Atlanta and they're going to say it's Tulsa?
Dude, there are no good... Well, okay. I'm trying to think back to Oklahoma's film incentive, because I've known some people that have worked on projects there, and To the Wonder was shot there, which was a Terrence Malick film, which was actually not too far from where we were. It wasn't shot in Tulsa, but it was shot near there. I'm not quite sure what their current, film incentive is in Oklahoma. I know it's not anything close to Louisiana or Georgia, or California for that matter. That's where the big incentives are. And I mean, particularly Atlanta. Atlanta is just where everything's shot now because of money. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I need to find out when they're filming, and then while Rocky's there, just run up the BOK steps.
A lot of crazy stuff going on in the comments here. Velvet Santa suggesting Brian Bosworth and Lorenzo Lamas opening up a hot dog stand together.
Okay.
Renegade Wieners is what I would call that one. But what? It's just like, these dogs are off the leash. Renegade Wieners. And I don't know.
Well, talking about Renegade
marketing.
Wieners.
Talking about marketing.
Talking Renegade Wieners, it was in the news.
I think I would have add some vanilla vodka to my Coke.
That Rian Johnson, through questions and interviews following the release of the film at a film festival, has confirmed and acknowledged that Daniel Craig's character in Knives Out 2, Glass Onion, will be gay because he has a live-in lover man. But the more interesting thing about this news is that they said that Glass Onion's actually going to be released in theaters for 1 week.
Wait,
then
that's
it's on
right.
Netflix.
It wasn't going to be in theaters.
It's on Netflix because Netflix optioned the rights for films 2 and 3 of the Knives Out series, but it's going to be in the theaters for 1 week, and then it's on Netflix.
So it can make some money and get considered for awards season.
How does it make money when everyone's like, I'll just wait a week.
Yeah, well, it's really, I think probably the big reason is they want to see if they can get it nominated. Because, I mean, it is Rian Johnson, so...
in continued Netflix news, though, to that point of making it where they can make money, Netflix has introduced that they will allow profile transfers for everyone that's using someone else's Netflix when they start shutting it down. So when they start keeping track of the IP addresses and the logins, and they see that somebody in Oregon is logging into someone in Maryland's account, and they're like, wait a second.
That's not the same household.
Yeah, and they boot you from it like Hulu does. They'll allow you to transfer
Hulu does that?
Yeah. Hulu's mobile app until the Disney big
shout out
thing.
to my friend's Hulu account that I still use.
Yeah, the Hulu would be like, you're not on your home network. We can't let you watch on mobile device. It's like, what was the point of having it on mobile?
Yeah.
No, you can do it now.
Okay.
But at the time, not that long ago, they were
You're not in your house. We're shutting it down.
Basically, yeah. So, but Netflix said you can transfer your profile so that you don't lose your list and your recommendeds and all that.
Velvet Santa says on Twitch, he says, at this point, Netflix isn't worth the effort.
Why do you think they lost so much of their customer
disagree.
base?
I disagree. I think, Netflix, the service is still way better than Amazon Prime streaming, way better than some of the other, because it's just...
The interface,
the
maybe.
interface, yeah, the interface is way better.
But not as Amazon's better.
I mean, they have more of a selection, sure, but...
and the X-ray is cool.
I hate the way that the clunky navigation, the clunky search, the clunky watch list, the clunky rating system. It's just too big and bulky. And plus, Netflix started it all, man. It's the OG. And Vince says he doesn't care about the interface if there's nothing to watch.
Exactly.
Well,
what is there on Netflix? Nothing.
But that's the thing is that actually there is stuff on Netflix. I watch things on Netflix quite a bit.
Something that you haven't watched already 10 to 20 years ago?
Well, that's most streaming services.
Yeah.
I mean, what have I just watched on Netflix recently? They've got the Midnight Mass, or Midnight Club, which is I'm about to start watching. There was another season of show. There was Sandman, which I watched, as Velvet Santa mentioned that. But this is a part of the problem that I've been saying on the show for a really long time about all these different streaming services. There's a point where we're oversaturating ourselves with microtransactions of all of these different streaming services for every single distribution company. And one of the reasons I still like Netflix is it is supposed to be a marketplace for multiple distribution companies. And that's why I'm still a fan of it, because Netflix's model is the only thing that is defending us from complete and total, microtransaction to the point where everything is behind a constant paywall. And I will still defend Netflix even though the stuff is not as good. It's not their fault. It's because Peacock and Amazon and Disney and Paramount and all these places are pulling back all their products and going, no, you have to get it from us and you have to pay this premium amount. Where Netflix is like, hey, actually, how about let us be the person that is distributing this content in a good packaged interface, and then you guys work on making the content, and then we create a fair market. And now all these places are undermining that idea. And once they get you used to it, that's when they screw you.
I actually really
lubing you up.
I can't think of one streaming service that has anything that's really of interest when you hop on it and you're like, well, what's there to watch? And it's like, oh, I've seen everything that I've already seen, and there's nothing that I want to see that's new because it's underproduced or overproduced.
Well, because they're all having a... when there's not a good solid marketplace, they go, oh, well, Paramount, how many great things did Paramount make? And it's like, okay, well, now we have to make other stuff to go in there to fill out. That's the same problem Disney Plus had when it first came out. We don't have enough stuff. So that they're like, let's buy Fox. And then they bought Fox so they could put all that Fox stuff on Disney Plus. Yeah, it's terrible. Everything's terrible. The world's going to shit.
You know what?
Buy DVDs.
Talking Disney and Fox and they're holding on to things and that's theirs. I was in Spirit Halloween this weekend.
I was just there earlier today.
Looking for just whatever.
Are you going to dress up for Halloween for the first time since 2018 or 19?
I don't have the money to do it.
Oh, come on. I can make you a costume now. Before the show is over, I can make you a costume.
I actually have a really good costume idea, and I kind of...
Is it a really good excuse?
No. I want to tell the people, but I don't want anyone to take my idea.
Well, why? If you're not going to do it.
All right, so we came up with it when we were driving around the other day. So, from the Johnny Depp trial, where they had the audio recording and he stole Amber Heard's Mira wig, and he goes, Aquaman.
So you're going to be Aquaman?
I want to be drunk Johnny Depp with the Mira wig halfway hanging off.
So, yeah, you're going to need like a
bunch of scarves.
And a tasseled jacket.
And a goofy vest.
Yeah, and then like
a red wig,
shitload of like wooden bead bracelets.
Oh, I didn't even think about that part.
And,
all of the bracelets,
and then like this, and then the Aquaman,
and a really big bottle of wine, a mega pint.
A mega pint. You need a mega pint of wine.
Yeah, so it'd be a really big bottle, and it'd say mega pint on it.
Yes, let's make this happen.
Yeah,
this is cosplay I can get behind.
So I got it covered.
I need to see it.
Oh, we thought it was a funny idea. Like we got really tickled about it. So
maybe a poo-poo stained pillowcase to carry all your stuff in.
The dogs did it. The dogs did it. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, I approve. I approve of this message.
Oh, and the last bit from Glass Onion, Angela Lansbury is in Glass Onion.
Oh.
Ryan Johnson.
The ghost of Angela Lansbury.
No. Ryan Johnson talked to Bedknobs and Broomsticks, bro. He talked about filming a scene with her, so it's probably her very last on-screen credit is going to be in a mystery movie, like a whodunit thing. So
I like it.
There it is, Murder, She Wrote type thing.
Very cool.
So that's kind of a neat thing to leave behind there. So,
any other news bits? I didn't.
Ash said she'd be the soiled bed sheet.
That's
we
a
got
good costume.
Yeah, we're a pair. We'll do it. Yeah, there it is. That's the movie news, man. I don't know. There wasn't that much.
Nothing that was really big to me. I mean, everybody's up in arms about the new Mario voice of Chris Pratt, where he's like, hey, it's me, Mario. And you're like, well, okay, it's Chris Pratt. And this goes, I don't want to talk a lot about it, but it just goes back to the same thing that we've talked about for years and years on the show about voice actors becoming celebrities and no longer playing characters and just going, hey, you know this guy, he's famous, you like him, he's the voice of this.
Well, there's actually an entire documentary out there where they talk to guys like Tom Kenny and
West.
Billy West, thank you, and people like that are career voice actors, and that's what they do. John DiMaggio,
they create characters.
Yeah, the dude that does Bob's Burgers and
John
Benjamin.
John Benjamin. Yeah.
So they talk to all of these people like that, and they explain it's really hard for a stage and screen actor to try and be a voice actor because it's a completely different thing. That's like Mark Hamill did not like to be filmed while he was doing the voice of things like the Joker or anything like that because you get animated and you do things a certain way, and he doesn't want people to see that part of the process because he's not acting for someone to see. It's all what he can do to make his voice come out the way that he did it. But Mark Hamill's a freaking incredible voice actor.
Oh, dude.
Well, and it's one of those things. Yeah, it's trying to use someone's name to carry something doesn't always work for voice acting.
Well, and it's just a lot of time when they do that, they're not really acting. They're just being themselves because these movies know they need Chris Pratt's voice to sound like Star-Lord, which is just Chris Pratt, and they're like, oh, just be Chris Pratt because people know that voice. They're familiar with it. They think it's cool. And like Vince says, like Vin Diesel, who demanded stilts to voice Groot.
But they say it worked. That's why they had him record every line individually instead of recycling it. Mm-hmm. And they had him record it in all the different languages.
Vin Diesel, ladies and gentlemen, a prolific voice actor with characters such as Groot and the Iron Giant.
Superman.
Two of the most verbose animated characters known to film. Anyway.
But they're good.
They are both pretty good.
Iron Giant's really good.
Not a weapon. That movie makes me cry every time I watch it. I hate that movie. I can't watch it. I love that movie. I can't watch it. Yes. Okay. What else? Let's talk about what's coming out, because I got to talk about Halloween Ends very soon. Only one really big movie. There's a couple of very small movies. We're gonna gloss over those because you're probably not gonna get them in your town, because everybody is sort of giving room for the new DC film that's coming out this weekend, October 21st, 2022, Black Adam. Black Adam coming out this week. So, yeah, Dwayne Johnson, Viola Davis, you've got Pierce Brosnan and Dr. Fate. That's honestly the only thing that's going to get me into the theater to see this movie.
Live-action Hawkman.
Is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Like, I don't like the Hawk people. They're so stupid.
When they're Thanagarians or when they're reincarnated Egyptian spirits?
When any of them. Like, the only Hawkmen that I'll take are the ones from Flash Gordon. Like, that's where my Hawkmen stop. Like, the DC Hawkmen with their dumb helmets and their dumb maces. It's like, okay, you're swooping in here with a guy with laser eyeballs, and, like, get your mace out of here. Get out of here with your what, you fly?
I always thought
great.
Hawkman was, like, one of the coolest characters.
No, man, they're dumb. They're just...
I like that Silver Age stuff, bro. Like,
so
or like
silly.
I like the the Green Lantern who can't harm things made out of wood. Like Alan Grant's really cool. I think Hawkman is super rad. I like that kind of thing.
Velvet Sand on Twitch says I'm an anti-Hawkite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan. But Dr. Fate, however, I am a big fan of. And Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, and the Dr. Fate costume looks sick. I'm trying not to get hopeful for this movie because I feel like DC needs a win, and DC. And if you've listened to the show for a really long time, I grew up Marvel, but as I've become older and wiser, I now lean more DC because the stories are better, the characters are darker, the arcs I think are a little more interesting than Marvel. And most of my now favorite DC characters are comic book characters are DC. Swamp Thing, kind of amazing. Constantine, kind of cool. Dr. Fate, kind of awesome.
When I was a kid, I liked both, and then I grew up and started liking 2000 AD.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different thing. I mean, my absolute favorite...
And heavy metal.
My favorite comic of all... So, what, your absolute favorite comic of all time? Is it Judge Dredd? Is it Dredd? I don't know. You said 2000 AD.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Mine? Ben Edlund's The Tick. Like, that's my favorite comic book series ever, period, hands down, forever. No one will take that crown.
Yeah, I guess Judge Dredd's more fun than X-Men. Yeah, Judge Dredd.
Yeah, see, but in terms of big, widespread,
Lobo. But they ruined Lobo. Judge Dredd. It's Dredd.
What is Lobo on? That's
DC.
Marvel, or no, that's DC.
Yeah.
See, DC. But anyway, we'll see. Black Adam. I don't know. I'm gonna see it, but I don't know. Velvet Santa says, I love how this is not just attached to all the other recent DC stuff. Oh, is it not?
Maybe.
Because they've already been referencing the new Shazam trailer is like talking about Black Adam. Like, I think this is going to be the glue.
Bro.
Okay.
I'm too excited about this. Maybe they've kept it hidden, and in the Black Adam movie, after everything's done at the end, Lobo comes riding in on the Space Hog, and he hops off, and he's there to collect the bounty on Black Adam, and it's none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's not gonna
He
happen.
slaps a couple of space beers together, and he chugs them, and he goes, "Oh, hell yeah!" And then Black Adam goes... He does the smell thing and raises the eyebrow, and then it is on. And we got Stone Cold, The Rock, DC is going to be the titties. It's going to be so rad. I've told you Stone Cold would be a perfect Lobo since Jason Momoa is already Aquaman.
Taken, yeah.
Yep. So Stone Cold hopping off the Space Hog, being Lobo. He's like, "Hey, you dumb bastard! Oh, hell yeah!" And then he just like stomps a mud hole in Black Adam's ass and then walks it dry. It would be the best. I'm talking.
I mean, it would be pretty cool, but like really though,
and when
the
he swoops in, the Space Hog has to blast through a window pane, so it's the shattering glass Stone Cold entrance.
I mean, that would be pretty sick. Mm-hmm. But would Steve Austin wear a Lobo costume?
Yeah, dude.
We'll see.
I need this to happen.
Let's see. Velvet Santa says Disco Inferno could play Elongated Man.
I need live action Plastic Man in my life.
That's what I was about to say, and I think that they were trying to do a live action Plastic Man of some sort, which I think that they would totally screw it up because, I mean, Plastic Man could be the DC Deadpool, you know, with someone that's just an asshole that is a wisecracking son of a bitch, but with really way cool, funny powers that I think would work way better than Fantastic Four. Like, nobody wants to see boring-ass Dr. Fantastic or whatever his name is.
Mr. Fantastic.
Being like, Professor Stretchums over here says, here's my Ray Blaster of Infinitium in my dumbass, like, roof-open hover car. And get out of here with the Fantastic Four. They're the worst.
You're talking about how he defeated Galactus and saved the Earth?
They're all like it's like a convertible spaceship. Like why is the Fantastic Four fanmobile like, you know, it's the dumbest mode of transportation that any superhero has ever gotten. And his little quantum like rod and reel with no fishing pole attached to it is like the dumbest looking weapon. And I don't know, God, Mr. Fantastic's stupid. Human Torch, flame on! And
well, this movie looks like it's going to have some real stupid heroes in it too. So
no, it has Dr. Fate. Anyway, it's coming out.
Justice Society is being brought to the screen, so that's cool. Maybe we'll get Wildcat live action Wildcat, not CW Arrowverse Wildcat, where he's like, "What's up? I'm 33, so I'm old in this TV show, and everyone says I'm ancient, but I'm really handsome, and everyone's like, wow, handsome old man Wildcat." And he's 33, such an old dude.
Yeah, I hate the CW. I can't do any of the CW. I tried to watch like Legends of Tomorrow, and I just wanted to stab my eyeballs out because it was like, here's a hawk person, and I'm like, great. And then
Wildcat's such a cool DC hero because everyone's like, Batman doesn't have powers. It's like, you know who else doesn't have powers? Wildcat, and he's out there just punching people bare knuckle.
Pow, pop. Anyway, CW sucks. That's what's coming out in theaters this week. Yada yada yada. Let's talk about Halloween. Let's do it. I gotta get this review out. We gotta talk about it. Halloween ends, guys. Halloween ends. Let me pull up a little bit of talking points.
While you're doing that, Velvet Santa pointed out R. Lee Ermey did the voice of Wildcat in Batman Brave and the Bold. Batman Brave and the Bold is some of the best voice acting casting ever because Aquaman is the most perfect character in that show ever. Diedrich Bader is a fantastic Batman, and R. Lee Ermey is one of those people where he's a screen actor, but he's a great voice actor because he's never supposed to be an actor at all. He just nails it because he was R. Lee Ermey. And who better to be Wildcat than R. Lee Ermey?
Well, Lee Ermey's pretty badass. I mean, period, all the time. Okay, Halloween. How are we gonna do this? David Gordon Green, man. You guys know Michael Myers. He's right here. He's right here on the set. You're looking at him. Beep boop boop beep boop boop beep. I didn't put the mask out yet because it's too creepy. And it just stares at us with the black eyes, the devil's eyes. This movie, 1978, classic, John Carpenter. Halloween 1 and 2 are a fantastic sequel pair of movies. We won't talk about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, even though it's a great movie. I think finally people are accepting it as a great movie. And then there was a handful of other ones. Halloween 4, It's on Amazon. I think you can watch that. It's a something one. Halloween 5, Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. Halloween H2O, the first one that had Jamie Lee Curtis to come back in the like 1998. That one was not bad. I think it also had Busta Rhymes in it, who carried that movie.
Busta carried the movie.
I think it was Busta. Anyway, and then there was Halloween Resurrection. That happened in 2002, and that also had Jamie Lee Curtis that's the one that had Busta Rhymes was Jamie Lee Curtis and Busta. H2O had LL Cool J. That was that one. So I gotta put a cool rapper in. It was the 90s, man. That's how you did it. But then, in 2007, Rob Zombie was like, you know what, we're gonna redo this thing. We're gonna do Halloween 1. We're gonna do Halloween 2. The Magic Thorn and Satanic whatever is bullcrap and stupid because it was Rob Zombie. Look at the monsters.
The first one wasn't that bad,
but it wasn't that good either. It was Rob Zombie doing Rob Zombie things.
Though they're like, well, Michael Myers is just a misunderstood immortal child and who grew up to be an 8-foot-tall psychotic man that stands in the yard and they chain him to the ground. But he's just misunderstood because he was a kid and he was like, I wonder what would happen if I stabbed my mom.
Where they pricked him with the Indian burial ground talon that gave him evil powers, or I don't know.
Is that how they explain him being immortal? That's not in the first movie. That must be in the second one, because the first one he's just a kid on Halloween, and he's like,
he's got the clown outfit.
Yeah, and he's like, what would it be like if I murdered this person? And he's like, okay, now I know. Yeah.
You've got to draw, and I'm gonna stab you.
Yeah.
He's coming to get you. And then in 2018, David Gordon Green came out with a reboot with bringing in John Carpenter, right? John Carpenter came back in as an executive producer on this to help kind of co-write, co-produce this new film, and bringing Jamie Lee Curtis on and
adding to the new soundtrack.
I'm just changing it just a little bit.
Does he play music in the new trilogy?
The new one only, no, not really.
That's dumb.
That's kind of one of my biggest complaints.
If you're gonna have John Carpenter there, why do you not have him on the keys, man?
It is easily one of my biggest complaints about this new movie, but we'll get into that. So Halloween, bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of to try and figure out what they're gonna do with this storyline, right? And so it is as if Laurie Strode has gone crazy and become a hermit and prepared for Michael's arrival. That was the first one. And the second one, Halloween Kills, which came out last year, 2021, was very much, okay, the town's in on it. They know mob mentality, David Gordon Green trying to play with these ideas of, who's really the bad guy? Is it Michael Myers, or, can we pull a mirror and show the evil within all of us, right? So David Gordon Green trying to sort of pull away from the shape element of Michael Myers as being just this unstoppable killing machine, and playing with some more social ideas, because that's what makes horror kind of cool. Like, we all love our big scary slasher men. Jason Voorhees is the unstoppable force of murder, mayhem, and destruction, but there's not a lot of substance there. And with this sort of series, again, not a lot of substance. It's just this guy who runs around stabbing people on Halloween night. The fact that it's had this many movies is kind of amazing, but what are you going to do? And so Enter Halloween Ends. David Gordon Green, at the end of the last one, set up a springboard to tell a story that's not necessarily around Michael Myers. I've read a lot of these reviews that have been coming out, and so many people are throwing this movie under the bus, saying that it's not good, it's not a good Halloween movie, there's almost no Michael Myers, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to come out and say it, and it might be a little weird for some of you guys. I didn't hate it. I didn't think that this was a bad choice for David Gordon Green, because this is the 14th, let me count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the 13th movie in this Halloween franchise, and it's about a dude in a mask that's like pushing 70, but
he's not a dude, he's a figure,
he's a shape.
The shape, yeah, that's what they call him.
And, you know, the story between, how far can you take this story between Laurie Strode and this guy before it's kind of pandering nonsense? And I think David Gordon Green understands that. And there was you know, I'm not going to give a whole lot of spoiler alerts in this movie or review, but they were springboarding it, trying to set it up as a torch passing moment. But you're like, okay, well, let's explore the ideas of what makes someone evil. What is evil? Is it something inside of us the whole time? Is it something that happens? Is it something that everyone's capable of? But what makes a Michael Myers, you know, happen? And they kind of explore this idea with a different character who's going through this evolution of societal pressures. Like, he has an accident at the beginning of this film. The one of the co-leads of this story, he you know, Haddonfield has been. They're thinking of Michael as sort of an infection, that this idea of this evil man is somehow more detrimental than the man himself, because despite what he's doing, killing people, yeah, that's bad, but the way that it puts the town on edge and causes people to accidentally kill each other and everybody kind of hate each other, it's like this evil is sort of spreading. And it's kind of an interesting idea, I thought, because it kind of like in a zombie film, which you hear me talk about a lot on the show. You know, the zombies are not the scariest part. It's as if, you know, Jake and I are in here and there's zombies outside. Like, either one of us could probably take down a couple of zombies, but we're like, yo, we gotta work together. And then when he turns around, I push him down the stairs to be zombie food, and I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here. And like, that's the scary shit. Is like, oh man, humans suck.
Wow. Who else in the apocalypse would waste their time to protect you? You're gonna get rid of your homie,
I would not.
Someone who's saved you in real life.
No, I wouldn't push you down the stairs, because then I wouldn't be able to reach everything high. You know, we'd find somebody else to push down the stairs. Like, we'll get some frat dudes or whatever on campus. Like, bro, we got like free beer down here at the Fortress, and they'll be like, yeah, dude, and then we push them out there, zombie food. Anyway, so this film kind of it takes a big detour and follows this kid who, you know, accidentally kills a kid, and this is not a big spoiler because it's in the first 1 minute of the movie. He accidentally kills this kid. He's babysitting on Halloween night.
Is it like the Rob Zombie one where it's an accident, but it's not an accident?
No, it's a total.
Like, what would it be like if I accidentally?
No, it was a total accident. He accidentally this kid. They're playing hide and seek, and the kid like kind of spooks him out, and is like, "Oh, Michael Myers," locks him in the attic, and the guy's like trying to get out of the thing, and then in doing so, the kid falls over the stairs and dies, and you know, and then the whole town is like, "You're the baby murderer! We hate you! You're the psycho killer!" And he kind of slowly gets crazier and crazier throughout the film, as a parallel, and starts dating Laurie Strode's granddaughter, and so enter the Strode family, and then enter Michael Myers, and then Michael Myers is more of an idea in this movie. He makes an appearance occasionally. He's still there. He's like living in the sewer or whatever that Michael does. But in the end of the last movie, he was pretty much beat to shit. Like, he's not, you know, he needs to feed off evil. And so they don't explain a lot of his power. They definitely allude to this mysterious, like, yeah, he is kind of borderline immortal, and there's something more mystical going on with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you can only be shot and stabbed and set on fire so many times if you're normal.
And there is something there that is that you know that is more. But where is that? Where, you know, where does that evil root come from? And they play with that in a way that I didn't hate, because, you know, how do you send off this movie and this franchise in a way that I think is tasteful, other than just like going, "We got him."
Well, Velvet Santa gave us a good idea. As the address 122 and an eighth, and an eighth, and
Pizza dude.
And then a 20 just comes up through the sewer, and then when the pizza guy leans down, just like a knife goes through his face.
122 and an 8.
Yeah, and it's Michael Myers ordered pizza.
Wise men say never pay full price for a late pizza.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, this movie is a 13th sequel to a franchise. This is what this is. I don't know what people are expecting out of this. And I feel like they did set it up in a way that if they wanted to sort of play with the idea of evil within, and I wouldn't say you could probably do another Michael Myers. They might try because of the mask and stuff. Like, I don't know, but it definitely ends. Like, there isn't going to be no more Laurie Strode. There's going to be no more Michael Myers. It definitely brings that to an end. And I'd say big complaints are this fast forward of Jamie Lee Curtis's character. You know, in the established trilogy that David Gordon Green did, he made her like a 40-year hardened, like, you know, hunter-gatherer trapper in the woods, and then all of a sudden, over the past 3 years, she's like, nah, you know what, I'm a homemaker now, let's make an apple pie, and she's like happy-go-lucky, and I thought that was really false-filling and stupid. But then when, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis turned it on, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. She's just so fun to watch, and you know, a bit hypnotic on screen. You just want to watch her the whole time. But I feel like when you're trying to do fan service and you're also trying to do something new, it's like an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. And, you know, you just probably are best not doing it. But at this point in time, we've got to finish the trilogy. David Gordon Green knew that. I think he was kind of caught in between. And, you know, we got what we got. I don't hate it. Do I think it's amazing? Am I going to watch it again? Probably not. Is it Halloween 1 and 2? No, it's not. But
one of our viewers liked it. Patrick said he watched it in theater and on Peacock. So
there you go. See, I also enjoyed it. For a big fan of the series, I watched it. I appreciated what David Gordon Green was trying to do. I enjoyed the new cast. I enjoyed the send-off. I enjoyed some of the wink, wink, nod, nods. As a trilogy, again, we have to think of this as an overarching narrative between each one, and I think it kind of worked. It worked. I don't know why everyone's poo-pooing on it so bad. Is it going to be as good as the first time? Probably not. But does it exist as a trilogy that stands on its own legs? I think so. I think if you were to take this story and remove all the other 10 movies before it and say, hey, no one's ever heard of Michael Myers, no one's ever heard of any of this, and you kind of watched all of these together, you'd be like,
what, starting with the original?
No, I'd just say, hey, 40 years ago, this lady had a deal. You know, kind of like how Evil Dead 2 is really the beginning of the Evil Dead franchise, because it gives that, like, you can kind of scrub through this. We're going to give you the parts you need to know.
Actually, there's an interview with Bruce Campbell where he tells you what parts of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 are different movies and different stories, and how you should watch those two to give you the one story that both of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's parts of the original Evil Dead that are still.
But Evil Dead 2 is really the one. Like,
because it's a reboot-quel. It was the original reboot-quel.
But included part of the original.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Reboot sequel.
Evil Dead 2 is a really amazing movie, is what we're saying. And they did it right. But anyway, Halloween ends. It ends it. You can check it out. It's in theaters. Go see it in theaters. It's October, damn it. Like, go check out a scary movie.
Yeah, that way you have to be in a strange, dark place where you're not allowed to get up and pause the movie, and you have to look around at the seats behind you.
And someone behind you is going, yeah, it's worth it. And, you know, it's October. It's Halloween. The music wasn't that great. That was a big downside of this movie, but there you go.
I mean, that's the one thing, man.
I didn't hate it.
Fan service part of it, they got to remember. We want Kenny Loggins. We want John Carpenter. We want that music from the
They
originals.
did play the Don't Fear the Reaper in the credits, which was like my least favorite song of the Halloween franchise, but you know, and they did play the beep boop boop beep boop boop in the beginning credits, where they go through all the different pumpkin evolutions from the movies, which was kind of cool.
Just like Top Gun, where they only do the Kenny Loggins at the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's it. I want to stop on that one so Jake can talk about the thing that he watched, and we still got box office roundup.
Yeah, I can be quick on it, man. Basically, since that was the only in theaters movie this week, stuck with streaming once again. Watched a new streaming movie, Rosalind, which is the tale of Romeo and Juliet from an alternate perspective, like it's Juliet's cousin who had dated Romeo before Juliet, and it's a comedy, they say, and so of course Rosalind is the girl, and she's the main character. She's very full of herself, and but that's because she has thoughts of her own and dreams, and her dreams include keeping Romeo to herself. And her dad's trying to marry her off. She gets taken away on a date she doesn't want to be on by some sort of Duke type character, and misses her date with Romeo, and that's where he meets Juliet at the Capulet Ball. And from there, the story of Romeo and Juliet happens. Meanwhile, Rosalind wants to just make sure it doesn't, because she wants to ruin their relationship so she can score back Romeo. But then, of course, once she causes turmoil and dismay, and people start getting stabbed and killed and hurt, including my boy Mercutio, who's barely there, then it's up to her to save the day after she's caused turmoil and chaos. It's a dumb movie. I mean, it's like a CW episode, honestly. Yeah. There's really not a lot going on with it, except that two Happy Madison production villains play the leaders of the Capulet household, being the dude from Billy Madison,
who eats pieces of shit for breakfast.
No, that's Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Shooter McGavin.
He's one of them. What's his name? McDonald. Something McDonald. I can't remember. He's one of them, and then the guy that plays the rival of Billy Madison, trying to take over the company, is the other. So that was kind of fun to see the two of them on there. Christopher McDonald. There it is. Thanks. So that was fun. But other than and Minnie Driver's in it, she's there. So you have some names, you have some star power, but
it's a thing to watch.
Not much going on with it. It's a thing to watch. It's like an hour and a half. It's just basically a CW series condensed into a movie. It's kind of goofy.
Well, all right. Well,
I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. You've heard Romeo and Juliet before. It's just like,
when are they gonna make like Bromeo and Juliet?
Call Billy Eichner, man. I think he'd be really into the idea of
Bromeo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's time for Box Office Roundup. We're like out of time. So we're gonna give you the box office, because I gotta get back to Nightmare on Block Street. We got things to do. But this is where we give you the box office roundup, and we reveal the fact that Halloween made a lot of money, and in 5 years, over under, which Vince asked in Twitch earlier this show. Yes, it's making all the money. We're gonna get some sort of reboot, free sequel, franchise, carry on the torch, something. Of course we are. It made a shitload of money. We're gonna get these until we're dead, as long as it keeps making money. It made a lot of money. So we're going to give you the box office roundup for October 14th through 16th, and we're going to give you the top 10 movies in America, domestic numbers only, because domestic numbers are what they pay attention to. So I'm going to turn it over to Jake, and he's going to give you the top 10.
Coming in at number 10, one of the movies I was just talking about that needed more good music going on in it, and it's
still in the top
21st week of release, brought in another $687, just shy of $688,000, bringing in a domestic total of $715.7 million. Top Gun Maverick, still out there, still making it happen, killing it. And then coming in at number 9, continuing to drop down the charts, in its third week of release, bringing in $933.9 thousand. For a domestic total of 10.8 bros. Sorry, Billy Eichner, about that one. That advertising budget has got to be the majority of what they've made back.
Yeah, oof.
Coming in at number 8 in its second week of release. I thought it was its first, probably its first in wide release, because it was up 28%. It's only in 700 theaters, bringing in $1 million for a domestic total of $2.47 million. Terrifier 2.
surprising how well it's doing, considering it is a very obscure sequel, but a lot of people are talking about it because it's super violent and
yeah. Plus,
viewers are throwing up in the theater.
It's horror stuff for horror month, and from the people that bring you Terrifier 1, Terrifier 2, and then holding at number 7 in its 6th week of release.
Still out there in some theaters.
Barbarian brought in
out.
another $1.37 million for a domestic total of just shy of $39 million. Not bad for a horror movie. And from the sounds of what you told me, it sounds like a fun movie, honestly.
It's a lot of fun.
Are there jump scares? Did we talk about this?
Not really.
Okay.
It's just a lot of fun.
Someone, because not you, but someone the other day was giving me a hard time about the horror movie thing. And I said, no, I don't like jump scare movies. I'm fine with horror movies. I like Hellraiser. I like Nightmare on Elm Street. I like Gremlins and Ghoulies.
Are these one books that your mom read to you?
Yeah. I just don't like jump scare movies, man. I don't do it. But yeah, Barbarian in there holding strong. And then coming in number 6, Don't Worry, Darling, in its 4th week of release, brought in just under $2.25 million for its domestic total of 42.5. So there you go. That's out there. 4th week already. Doesn't feel.
I know
like
it does not feel like it.
But in its 2nd week of release, also continuing to plummet, which is sad news. Amsterdam brought in $2.76 million for a domestic.
Nobody wants to watch movies anymore.
Grand total of 11.8. That one actually looks like a lot of fun.
I'm gonna have to see it before it hits theaters. I'm also gonna go see the Dracula Fathom event, but definitely.
Oh yeah, that's the 27th.
I'll probably end up seeing Amsterdam before I see Black Adam, even though I know that that's the more relevant movie to talk about. But I really want to see Amsterdam. So anyway.
There you go. And then holding at number 4 in its 5th week of release, The Woman King. How about that? Did not expect that. $3.7 million this weekend, bringing its total up to $59.75 million in the U.S. There you go. Good job. And then number 3, Lyle Crocodile, in its 2nd week of release, $7.3 million in 4,300 theaters. Domestic total of 22.7. Probably not as much as they wanted out of a kids movie, but it's from a property that I've never heard of.
Still made $22 million.
That's still something. I wonder how much it costs though, being animated and all that stuff like it is.
I don't know. I didn't dig those numbers up, but yeah.
And then number 2, dropping out of its top spot in its 3rd week of release, $12.5 million, Smile.
But having a huge opening
for its
last
domestic
week.
total of $71.3 million.
Horror movies in October.
And I'm continuously being prompted and pushed into watching this movie in the theater. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to. No, this is a jump scare movie. I don't want to do a jump scare movie. I just don't want to. And then coming in number 1, as you probably already know, bringing in $40 million, Halloween.
Yep.
How about that? $40 million.
It's got dollar signs in his
eyes. That's
eyes.
as much as the rest of the top 10 put together.
He's got banker's eyes. Yeah, a lot of money. Averaged a lot per theater, so it had a very good opening. So
I think its average per theater is more than all the rest of the top 10
combined.
Put together.
Yeah, so it did pretty well. So Halloween Ends doing good, making the money. It did another 17 million internationally, so it's hit almost 60 million worldwide. So doing all right. But anyway, that's our show. I got to get back to Halloween headquarters, Nightmare on Block Street, 23 North Block, Fayetteville, Arkansas, if you're in town. It is reservation-only night, boutique night, so we do have a few seats left for next week's boutique. You can make your reservations on nightmareonblockstreet.com, and we will be back next week, either talking about Amsterdam or maybe Black Adam. Who knows? But feel free to jump in our Discord. The links are in all of our little social medias there, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. You can download this podcast wherever you get your downloaded podcasts from. If you want to listen to us on the go and you don't want to look at our silly, ugly faces, you can check it out there. But if you want to tune in and join in the chat like everybody has been doing, you can do that live next Monday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on any of those social media platforms I mentioned just a moment ago. All that work. Anyway, okay, that's it. Yeah. Are we done?
We're done. That's it.
We're done. That's it, and that's all. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Did the thing work?
Happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.